This is ABC 7 Los Angeles. Now, Michelle Tuzzi, Mark Brown, and Dallas Raines as Eyewitness News continues.
A police pursuit takes a terrible human toll. Good afternoon. Welcome back. I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Michelle Tuzzi. This is Eyewitness News at 4:30. It was a horrific crash. 6 people were injured, including a 3-week-old baby. It happened in Sylmar today. Eyewitness News reporter Giovanna Lara joins us now live from Children's Hospital with an update. Giovanna?
Michelle, a 2.5-week-old baby is armless this afternoon. His arm was amputated in a horrific crash. Let's go ahead and show you the video. This is the child as he was being treated by paramedics and transported into a helicopter before being flown here to Children's Hospital. Now, there is a woman that you'll see here on the tape who is clearly distraught by the accident. We're still not not sure if that is the mother of the child, but a lot of emotion coming from that woman that you'll see here in just a second. And also we have new video just into Eyewitness News moments after the crash of the cars, the demolished cars. If we can go to that video, we'll show it to you. Now this all started with a high-speed chase in the Sylmar area. Police chasing a car full of alleged stabbing suspects inside. Now this again happened in the Sylmar area. It all ended also in Sylmar on Polk Street, just south of the 210 freeway, when the suspect's blue Corsica slammed into a Ford SUV with a father and the infant inside. Now here you see paramedics working on some of the alleged stabbing suspects who were also injured. We understand that the father was injured. As for the child, he is at Children's Hospital right now, and joining me now is Dr. James Stein to update us on his condition. We understand the child, the boy, is in stable condition right now.
Yeah, he would be in serious condition. He has a small bleed in the head, which is probably going to not be significant, but will need follow-up. He also has, as you've mentioned, the avulsion of the arm, and we're awaiting the final assessment of the reimplant surgeon to make an assessment as to whether or not it's going to be a viable functioning arm if the extensive surgery is undertaken.
So it is possible to reattach the arm?
It is possible to reattach limbs. The limiting factor is with the nervous regeneration and the ability of the arm to then function thereafter, rather than just atrophying away and becoming more of a liability than a functional limb.
So what happens for the child now?
At this point, it's continued observation, fluid resuscitation. He's completed all of his x-rays at this point. So now it'll just be a matter of awaiting the final assessment of the reimplant surgeon as to whether or not it's a reasonable alternative, because it is quite an extensive surgery lasting many, many hours.
Can you tell us how the child was injured, we understand it was a car accident, but how did this happen? Was he in a car seat?
By report, he was in a car seat, and it still is not clear. It sounds like the car seat may have dislodged because of the force of the accident. All that's not exactly clear to us.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. James Stein here at Children's Hospital. Again, the condition of that 2.5-week-old boy is serious. We're live at Children's Hospital. I'm Giovanna Lara, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you.
All right, Giovanna, thank you. Will actress Winona Ryder go to jail? She is set to be sentenced this week for her shoplifting conviction. A legal memo filed in advance spells out what may be ahead for that actress. Eyewitness News reporter Pablo Pereira is live at the courthouse in Beverly Hills with the story. Pablo?
Well, Mark, Winona Ryder was convicted of felony grand theft and vandalism just last month here in this Beverly Hills courthouse. And when she returns here on Friday for sentencing, the district attorney's office says they'll recommend a much lighter punishment than allowed by law. When Winona Ryder returns to court the end of the week for sentencing, prosecutors in the felony shoplifting case say they won't ask for the maximum for the 31-year-old movie star. Ryder was caught on store surveillance tape last December, shoplifting more than $5,500 in designer goods from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. The DA's office will ask the judge for 3 years probation, $6,300 in restitution to Saks, 480 hours of community service, and drug and psychiatric counseling. A sentence legal experts say is appropriate for a first-time offender.
Well, 460 hours is really what is going to be deemed appropriate is going to depend on what the judge thinks is going to send out the strongest deterrence message and be best in terms of rehabilitation and that the person deserves. So it's not outside the pale of the appropriate, although it is somewhat on the long side.
Now, under the law, Ryder could have faced up to 3 years in prison for felony shoplifting and vandalism charges. Again, she will be sentenced here in this Beverly Hills courthouse on Friday. Reporting live in Beverly Hills, Pablo Pereira, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Pablo, thank you. Just what can parents and school kids expect if they get caught up in the LA County truancy system? One couple and their ailing child got the answer when their absentee problem became serious. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez is live in Norwalk with their story. Miriam?
Michelle, the question here is how many absences are too many for an elementary school student? Well, according to state law, 3 is the limit. Now schools across the county are doing everything they can to get students in school, and they're holding parents accountable. Sarah Osuna was alarmed when she received this notice, a request for a meeting with a deputy DA to discuss her daughter's poor school attendance. There was a threat of court action.
That's the scary part, because when you go up against the DA, you never know what they can do, if they're going to find me, if they're going to try and put us in jail, if, they're going to try and take the kids away. You don't know.
Osuna says her daughter, Jessie, is not a delinquent. The absentees happened last year when she was in kindergarten, a consequence of her asthma.
This is something I use. This is albuterol, and this is for a sudden asthma attack.
Jessie is one of thousands of students targeted by the LA District Attorney's ACT program, Abolish Chronic Truancy.
85% of the prisoners in the state of California have one thing in common: a failed school experience.
And 95% of all juvenile crime is committed by children who are ditching class. School officials say that even young children learn quickly how to manipulate their parents.
Some of our chronic truancies, as I visit the schools, I look at the attendance reports. They're from 36 to 60 and 70 days a year out of 180.
So some students are missing like a third.
Some students are missing like a third of the school year.
Asthma is rampant among LA County school students. While Jessie has an excuse from a doctor, school officials say there is always a trained staff person who can help asthmatic students, and that school needs to be a priority, even in the first grade. And there are all sorts of reasons children are kept at home, anything from no transportation, no shoes, headache, stomachache. The deputy DA explains to parents at these meetings that there are many resources available to them, and we've got a number here we want to show you where you can get more information about those resources. It's an 800 number, 800-339-6993. That's the county's info line. And again, school officials stress there is no excuse for truancy. Reporting live from Norwalk, Miriam Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Miriam, thank you. If you're thinking about buying a new car, we have some information you might need. Crash test ratings for slow-speed accidents. A new crop of cars this time. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety tested 5 cars to see how their bumpers held up in fender-bender types of accidents. The eye-catching Mini Cooper from BMW got only a marginal rating, with more than $3,000 worth of damage in the 4 tests. The Suzuki Aereo fared even worse with a poor rating and $4,500 in damage. The Honda Accord rated acceptable, but $1,300 worth of damage there. The Toyota Corolla earned the highest rating, good, with damage just over $1,000. The Audi A4, damage there totaled $865.
Well, let's see how the damage is looking on the roads right now. For that, we turn to Vera Jimenez with our exclusive Air Watch traffic update. Vera?
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. Here's what you want to avoid. If you're going to be heading out towards the 210, heading eastbound, leaving Pasadena, stay slow most of the way into Arcadia. Forget about using the 210. Use Orange Grove or Huntington Drive on surface streets. The 605 southbound is also jam-packed between the 60 and the I-5. Most of that is due to an earlier problem. Instead of using the 605, use Rosemead Boulevard, which parallels the 605. It's the thick brown line to the left of the 605. Northbound side of the I-5, in fact, the north and southbound sides look fairly good in and out of East LA. No delays between the 710 and the 605 at the moment in either direction. And for the rest of the roads, remember that you can always go to abc7.com or AOL keyword ABC7LA. I'm Vera Jimenez with your exclusive Eyewitness News Air Watch traffic update. Mark, Michelle, back to you.
All right, Vera, thanks. The Jennifer Lopez video game that's not for sale. That's in today's Hollywood Wrap, plus the movie's top villains.
First, though, Hollywood's most powerful women. They all know George Pinocchio. He's here now with the top 3.
All good, close, personal friends.
The most powerful women in Hollywood are heads of studios. The Hollywood Reporter is out with its latest list of Hollywood's top 100 women. And at number 1, Sherry Lansing, who's been running Paramount Pictures for 10 years. Second on the list, Universal Pictures Chairman Stacey Snider. And at number 3, Amy Pascal, the Vice Chairman over at Sony Pictures. The most widely known woman to make the top 10 is Oprah Winfrey. She comes in 8th place. Lisa Kudrow is not on the list this year, but she is in Analyze That. She's back as Billy Crystal's wife in the sequel to Analyze This.
Don't tell Laura. She can't possibly handle a phone call.
Did I say that? But Lisa Kudrow can handle comedy, and she recently shot a dramatic role in the upcoming Wonderland, the life story of the late porn king John Holmes.
I like both, but I don't like scary movies.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't like that. I don't like people popping out of anywhere. I don't like that.
Shut up.
Listen, his life was threatened, so he didn't want to endanger his family.
Oh, how thoughtful. But it's okay to endanger our family?
In the sequel, Robert De Niro's mobster character is released from prison into the custody of his psychiatrist, played by Billy Crystal. This is the second time Lisa's been around so many Italian actors, but she's not ready to call herself or her character an honorary Italian just yet.
No, I don't feel like Laura was an honorary anything. Honorary pain in the
Such language, Lisa. Actually, you'll hear much worse in the movie.
Sometimes in my contract it says that I will deliver a film no longer than 120 minutes with a rating no stronger than PG-13. In this case, having already Analyze This, they presented that in the contract, and my lawyer said, well, what do you think of 120 minutes? I said, fine. He said, what do you think about PG-13? I said, forget it. It's not going to happen. The language, is horrible in this movie.
And that, plus some sexual content, is why Analyze That is rated R. It's in theaters on Friday. Well, here's something you'll probably never see, a video game starring Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. So, as you look at Jennifer's latest music video, listen to this. Kevin Smith, who directed Jennifer and Ben in the upcoming Jersey Girl, has given them a customized video game as a thank you for working on his film. It's called Jen Saves Ben and features an animated J-Lo fighting the evil likenesses of Smith and Matt Damon in order to rescue her fiancé Ben, who's chained to a warehouse wall. Finally, Darth Vader is the #1 movie villain of all time. At least, that's according to the Online Film Critics Society. The internet-based group ranks Darth at the top of its bad guy list. The Silence of the Lambs' Hannibal Lecter is second on the list, followed by Psycho's Norman Bates. The only female in the top 10, the Wicked Witch of the West. That's today's Hollywood Wrap.
All right.
Show.
Thank you, George.
You see the J-Lo video again?
I've got a whole copy of it.
Okay, for you. Thanks, John.
Well, now you can have Peter Jennings for your coffee table. The ABC News anchor has co-authored a new book that looks at modern-day America. Jennings had a book signing before he left Los Angeles this morning. In Search of America explores how Americans can be so different and still be one people. The book was conceived before September 11th, but how the country responded to the attack helped shape the book's content.
I've been very struck ever since, almost since right after 9/11, how resilient the country was and is. I've always believed the country was unique, wonderfully resilient, and more than any other place on the face of the earth, an idea. And it's pretty hard to undermine an idea in any serious way.
We will have more of Peter Jennings' interview with Eyewitness News reporter Adrian Alpert coming up at 5 o'clock.
And up next right here, if you're thinking about getting a body scan, they may tell you too much about your health.
And foods that fight morning sickness, snacks that keep you from getting tired, foods wannabe moms will want to stock in their fridge next.
Plus, ever ruin a favorite pair of pants or a top with a stain? Up next, the invention that could keep your wardrobe stain-free. And I hope that was not hot coffee.
My mom has cancer, but what nearly killed her started out as a simple infection. She was going through chemotherapy, and the nausea and the hair loss we expected. But what we didn't know was that the chemo was destroying her white blood cells, making it really hard for her to fight infection. My mom came down with bronchitis. She had to go in the hospital. They had to put her chemo on hold. And what started out as a simple infection became life-threatening.
Infection is one of the most serious risks of chemotherapy. But there is something you can do to help protect yourself if you're on strong chemotherapy. Ask your doctor about Neulasta right at the very start of your chemo or if you're already going through treatment. Neulasta boosts your body's natural white blood cells and helps protect you from infection. The most common side effect of this injection is mild to moderate bone pain.
We're ready for the fight against cancer and against infection.
Neulasta from Amgen, helping protect you for your fight.
Tess and Sharon here. It's our favorite time of year. Gift time! Time to go to Ross. Talk about great gifts. Looking good, Dad. Look at what my mom got. Share and share alike. Right, Mom?
Right.
Nice sweater, Grandma. These guys really cleaned up.
Gift time at Ross. Big savings for the whole family.
Jimmy loves his new bowl. And we didn't do badly either.
Ross, much more than low prices.
That's a wrap.
The King has returned, and it's big. Walt Disney Pictures presents The Lion King exclusively in IMAX theaters. Still the mightiest animated feature of them all and the undisputed king of the box office. The Lion King roars to life as never before with its dazzling large format debut. And now, SBC, a big company, a big responsibility, invites you and your family to an advanced screening. To win, log on now to abc7.com and get ready to see The Lion King larger than life.
Arby's new Market Fresh Turkey Ranch and Bacon with honey wheat bread, pepper bacon, and a creamy ranch sauce.
Give in to your grown-up taste.
Are you tempted to have one of those full body scans to see if you have any hidden health problems? Well, a new study shows it could be a waste of money. Researchers at UC San Diego say the scans rarely find problems in people under 40, and the problems they do find are often harmless abnormalities that cause a lot of worry and lead to invasive follow-up tests. Researchers also say they're not foolproof. An Illinois doctor who got a clean bill of health after a scan was diagnosed with bladder cancer a month later.
Wow. Other health news now. When you're pregnant, it's not just an excuse to put on extra weight.
What you eat can affect your unborn child. Health specialist Denise Dedore has researched some recipes that might be a great present for that mom-to-be. But first, something every man should know.
Oh, yes, a common condition people should know about. More than 20% of adult Americans suffer from something called metabolic syndrome. A new study shows men who have this are more likely to die from heart disease. Factors that put men at risk for metabolic syndrome include extra weight around the waist, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, low HDL or good cholesterol, and high levels of triglycerides, a certain kind of fat in the bloodstream. Finnish researchers followed 1,200 middle-aged men for 14 years.
The men who had the metabolic syndrome at the beginning of the study were 2 to 3 times more likely to die of heart disease or stroke.
You can prevent metabolic syndrome by getting more exercise and watching what you eat. It also affects women. The findings are in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It's natural to put on pounds when you're pregnant, but they could be the wrong kind of pounds. Eating the right foods can help women control cravings and morning sickness and aid with your unborn child's development. One local expert put together the recipes you and your baby need. This is pediatrician Mimi Shim's first pregnancy, and she's feeling the fatigue.
This last trimester, it's starting. I mean, I'm getting a little bit more tired, but I feel good.
She knows what to eat. Research shows certain foods can combat fatigue, contribute to your baby's brain development, and fight birth defects. Folic acid in the first 4 weeks is essential because that's when the neural tube develops.
You need the folic acid, and deficiencies can actually lead to different defects later on in life.
Author Martha Rose Schulman researched recipes for each trimester, high-risk pregnancies, and nursing. She found foods that ease morning sickness, constipation, and heartburn. The first mistake many women make is eating too much.
You only need 100 to 300 extra calories a day when you're pregnant. Well, if you drink a couple of glasses of milk or you make yourself a delicious banana and strawberry smoothie, you're going to get those calories.
Omega-3 fatty acids in fish, walnuts, and leafy greens help build a baby's brain. Cravings for sweets indicate a drop in blood sugar. Schulman offers alternatives like whole wheat banana bread or veggies with homemade Thai peanut sauce. For dinner, an easy spinach frittata loaded with protein, vitamins, calcium, and iron. And for those who don't cook, Schulman found a fast food fix.
There are packaged couscous dinners, for instance. Couscous is a grain that cooks. I mean, it doesn't even, you just put water on it in 20 minutes. You've got your or 15 minutes, you've got your grain. If you steam up some broccoli and mix it with that, with whatever comes with the couscous, you've got dinner.
Once you start eating it more nutritiously now, I think it gets to be more of a habit, and hopefully it'll be a long-term habit, because it's good not only for yourself, but for your family, because you'll be preparing this food, and for your children.
And here's a book, Every Woman's Guide to Eating During Pregnancy. Schulman says if you learn to eat this healthy when you're pregnant, you're likely to carry on these good habits when you're feeding your kids. Coming up on Healthy Living, a new vaccine for a nasty virus that kills 600,000 babies and children a year. Parents who've dealt with this intestinal bug know exactly what it is. The full story later at 5. And Michelle, you might know.
Well, you know, this sounds like a good book not only for pregnant women, but people who aren't pregnant. It sounds like some good recipes.
Oh, definitely. Very healthy, fast recipes in there.
Okay.
Thanks
Thanks
to Denise. Okay.
Still ahead for us here, it used to be mainly women who agonized over a perfect body. Now comes the Adonis complex, the body crisis facing American men.
And they may be tough, but they've also got heart. Southland Marines lend a hand for a happier holiday next.
Today at 5, coffee, tea, or laser beam, Star Wars technology to keep you safe in the sky. See who wants to put a laser ray on your next flight. Plus, 600,000 die from it a year. Now a new way to protect your kids from a silent killer. At 5 here on ABC 7.
Cashmere. Oh, thank you, Mom. I love it.
Beautiful sweaters. TJ Maxx, you won't believe what I paid.
Thank you, Mrs. Mitchell.
I'm such a gentleman.
Everyone loves sweaters, and we've got thousands, all at incredible prices.
Another sweater? Afraid not.
Pants?
The Sweater Shop at TJ Maxx. You should go.
Interest rates are lower than ever. How much can you save by refinancing? Call and find out.
You've got the green light. I refied my first mortgage to a 15-year loan at a really low rate.
Find out what you can save with no upfront cost or obligation. Call 866-66-FASTER.
My monthly payments are staying about the same, but the house will be paid off in about half the time. 866-66-FASTER. You've got the green light.
The symptoms started when I was younger. Cramps, bloating, constipation. I didn't know what caused it. Over the years, it got worse. Now I have a diagnosis, IBS. I have my own business, so missing work is a problem. But lately, I'm having trouble functioning.
If you've been diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, call 888-STUDY-GI to learn about a research study testing an investigational IBS medication.
I called and pre-qualified for the study.
I gotta go potty. Out of order.
Got a quarter? The Hyundai Santa Fe, with America's best warranty. When you solve problems in new ways, you win.
Bring a new unwrapped toy or sports equipment to your local fire station. And help ABC 7 and local firefighters make our 10th Spark of Love toy drive the biggest yet. This may have happened to you from time to time. You buy some new clothes and then you spill something all over them. We'll listen to this. A scientist has invented a fabric that prevents stains. It's a new high-tech sort of cotton. And as you can see, when liquid hits these pants, instead of soaking in, it just rolls right off. How does this work? Well, it's a complex process that involves changing the cotton molecules by adding very tiny whiskers to them. Sounds sort of complicated, but the idea is simple, an idea he got from rinsing off fruit.
You know, when you wash the fruit, peach, very often water just rolls right off. And that's because on the fruit surface, there are all these little pointed little whiskers.
Pants with whiskers, that's the answer. The high-tech pants look and feel pretty much like ordinary chinos or well-worn jeans. Dr. Sohn is now working on other fabrics, too.
Sounds great. Let's check in now with David Ono. He's live in the Eyewitness newsroom with a look at what's coming up at the top of the hour. David?
Michelle, tonight at Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock, a police pursuit ends in a violent crash. A 3-week-old baby, just one of several people, rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. We'll have live team coverage. Then protecting your children from a common and sometimes dangerous virus. We'll show you a new treatment with a lot of promise. And what's written in your child's school records could come back to haunt him or her. Consumer specialist Rick Romero shows you why you may want to get a hold of those files. These stories and a lot more coming up when Ellen Lave and I join you for Eyewitness News at 5. Mark, back to you.
All right, David, see you in a bit. Thanks to the American Red Cross and some generous Southern Californians, a lot of U.S. Marines and their families will be enjoying a happier holiday season this year. Today, the San Gabriel chapter of the Red Cross donated videos, toiletries, cookies, and greeting cards to the members of the Marine Corps at Camp Pendleton. The Marines will then distribute the gifts to their field units and to their families.
And in the spirit of giving, it's that time of the year when you can make sure every child has a happy holiday. It's ABC 7's 10th annual Spark of Love Toy Drive. All you have to do is take any new unwrapped toy or piece of sports equipment to your local fire station or Save On drugstore.
And when we come back, we'll tell you why it's not just women who are so concerned about what they see in the mirror.
And women who love what they see in the mirror. We're taking it to the mat next.
On Eyewitness News at 5, if you've ever been a student, watch this. School records crucial to your child's education, even career, landing in the wrong hands.
It's never occurred to me that something incorrect would be in their school records.
What you need to know at 5 here on ABC 7.